What is up, you sexy mother hubbards? It's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the Mirror today. Lives wrecked by Tories' town hall cash squeeze. It says the vulnerable are being hit by town hall cuts. And there's 40 councils now struggling on the brink of bankruptcy. Now, the reason these councils are struggling is because Tories control much of their cash flow, and they've been penny pinching, slashing, cutting for like 14 years, right? Now, some of that is because they are ideologically wed to the idea that you shouldn't live off the state, that there's too many scroungers, that these people should go back to work. That's just some of the Conservatives, the real ideologues. Then there's some more like centrist or like centre-right Conservatives with a small c who also want to see the cuts put in. But they look at it like a sort of fiscal, monetary, essential thing. Like, we spent way too much money. We've borrowed all of these billions. Now we're going to have to meet the interest payments for that debt with tax money, which means there's no tax money to give to these guys. Ergo, // cut. The problem with that approach, of course, is that it still costs money to run a local authority, right? You still got bins that need collecting. You've still got schools and hospitals and information security for the council even, and parks that need their grass cutting, accountancy staff. And so anyway, we are now where we are, which is that these councils have racked up these debts. The government are probably going to have to step in and bail them all out, which in my opinion lends credence to the idea that there is no such thing as the Conservative Party being the party of fiscal responsibility, because all that happens is they cut, // but then eventually it comes back to government and they have to bail out these things anyway. Like, you're not saving any money. You're probably spending the same amount. You're just making everybody's lives more miserable in the meantime. Next up to the Sun, Kyle. I am so sorry. Really? Okay, that's weird because I am so bored. Meanwhile, over to the Mail. Strike hell on trains as chiefs cash in. Now, this is a story that we're about to hit 9 consecutive days of industrial action on different train lines, and because the Daily Mail suddenly care about commuters, they're like, oh, well, this is an outrage. This isn't a fair deal for commuters. You're supposed to run a minimum of 40% of the lines, even when you're striking. I say they suddenly care about commuters because they were first to the front of the queue to cheer on the cancellation of HS2. Anyway, look, the obvious solution to this is to pay the workers what they say they need after years of inflation, against the backdrop of these very same chiefs walking away with millions. Like, a real terms pay increase would put this all to bed. Though I appreciate this sort of commentary coming from me is always going to come off as a little bit biased, given that I am very much team TFL. Next to the Express, Kemi, stirring Tory plotters must stop messing around. I'll tell you what I love about this, right, is this is Kemi Badenoch, right, and she's sort of attempting to rein in the Conservative Party. Kemi, stop messing around, you lot. So she's Kemi Badenoch, and she's telling all the plotters to stop messing around. And this is a thing that's sort of covered on the front page of the Telegraph as well. Anti-Sunak plotters are not my friends. But here you have a candidate very much fated for the next round of like Tory leadership hopefuls, getting her team and her PR guys to rally around her to get her on the front page of the Express and the Telegraph. Like, how do I avoid looking disloyal but simultaneously destabilise the Conservative Party to put myself forward as a leadership candidate? But what's that? The Telegraph and the Express will put me on page 1. Really, tomorrow? Jackpot. Finally, to the Bristol Post. What is the Bristol Post? Boys stabbed to death in double murder. Right. Okay, that's that sounds serious, and obviously it's incredibly sad for anyone that's been affected. But how on earth have the Bristol Post ended up on the Sky Newspapers segment? Like, I'm not knocking it. You know, it's good. It's amazing. It is absolutely what we need, is more regional voices, fewer Fleet Street oligarch types dominating the conversation, selling off democracy and so on. I think it's incredible we've got the Bristol Post on a national newspaper review segment. But I would love to see the panic in Fleet Street editorial rooms this morning. Like, excuse me, what the fuck is Bristol Post. Has Sky lost the bloody plot? Don't they know that the news agenda, the tone, everything for the day is supposed to be set by Rothermere, Murdoch, and the Barclay brothers? Like, I don't even know who owns the Bristol Post, but I can guarantee, like, a few more appearances on the Sky News segment like this, and I can promise you that despite falling circulation and tanking readership and declining advertising revenue, such is the power and influence of having your paper on a newspaper segment, the market value of the Bristol Post will incline to such an extent you'll have Murdoch and some sort of, United Arab Emirates consortium encircling your print works like rabid vultures. Guys, that's it from me. If you've enjoyed these paper reviews, do consider clicking the 3 buttons and do the little super thanks thing. Drop me a little tip in the tip jar, or consider joining the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Aid Thompson, or join the YouTube community, which you should be able to get to if you go straight to the homepage of my channel. That's it from me. See you all tomorrow, I guess. Peace.